ever noticed how the more you chase something, the faster it seems to slip away? How the moment you try to explain yourself, people start listening less, not more. Or how the harder you try to force a result, the more life seems to push back. These are not accidents. These are patterns of human nature that most people never see, and they have been understood for centuries by thinkers like Niccolo Machiavelli. Tonight, I want to take you into a world of subtle influence, human behavior, and what Machiavelli called the art of reverse psychology. This isn't about manipulation. It isn't about tricks or games. It's about seeing reality clearly, understanding why people act the way they do, and how to respond without losing your power, your calm, or your dignity. The first law of reverse psychology is that people value what they earn, not what is freely given. Imagine this. You work long hours for a promotion. When it finally arrives, it feels meaningful. Compare that to someone who is handed a gift or a reward without effort. It feels temporary, less real. Human minds are wired to respect effort. When you give too much too quickly, whether it's attention, affection, or approval, it can be taken for granted. This is why men who try too hard in relationships often feel invisible. Machiavelli observed that rulers who gave their subjects everything freely lost loyalty, while those who required effort to earn their favor gained respect. In life, this is mirrored in friendships, career growth, and love. People naturally attach value to what they work for, not what is effortlessly given. Learning this is the first step in understanding reverse psychology. It's not about scarcity for manipulation's sake. It's about understanding the natural flow of human respect and desire. The second law is that the more you try to convince someone, the weaker you appear. Have you noticed that someone who keeps explaining themselves starts to feel less authoritative? That is because over-explaining signals insecurity. Machiavelli believed authority doesn't need noise. One clear statement is stronger than 10 repeated arguments. Stoicism teaches the same lesson. Your reactions, your calmness and your centeredness carry far more influence than constant attempts to justify or prove yourself. Think about modern life. The person who interrupts, repeats their opinion, or over-explains often loses influence. The one who waits, listens, and speaks with clarity holds attention naturally. Silence, after a clear statement, often carries more weight than hours of explanation. The third law is about resistance. When you push directly, people push back. Tell someone to change, and their ego immediately resists. Force creates rebellion, subtle guidance creates learning. Imagine a parent constantly scolding a child. Rebellion grows. Now imagine a parent who allows the child to face natural consequences. Learning happens naturally. Machiavelli understood that people fight control, not truth. This is why reverse psychology works. You align with human nature rather than against it. You allow people to see their own choices and face the outcomes, instead of pushing them to do what you want. In relationships, leadership, or friendships, direct pressure often backfires. Subtlety, patience, and understanding create influence far more effectively. The fourth law is emotional control. Those who react emotionally give away power. When people know your triggers, your anger, fear, desperation, they gain leverage over you. Machiavelli emphasized that a ruler's emotions must be unreadable. Stoicism echoes this principle. Emotions are yours to manage. When you pause instead of reacting, when you respond instead of reacting, you gain authority. Calmness in chaos is far more commanding than aggression. Think about arguments in modern life. The person who stays calm, who listens quietly, who doesn't flinch under pressure, often emerges as the unspoken authority. Emotional stability signals confidence, safety, and strength. The fifth law is scarcity. True scarcity is not about pretending to be busy. It's about valuing your time, attention, and effort. When you are always available, people unconsciously devalue you. When you protect your time, respect your boundaries, and keep certain things for yourself, your presence becomes precious. This applies in relationships, friendships, business, and even casual interactions. The man who chases constantly is ignored. The man who has a life of his own who lives with purpose, attracts naturally. Machiavelli knew that desire often grows in proportion to perceived limitation. Scarcity signals value, not because people are greedy, but because the human mind respects what feels earned and rare. The sixth law is allowing people to feel their own intelligence. Correct someone too directly, and resistance grows. Let someone arrive at a conclusion on their own, and they defend it fiercely. Machiavelli observed this in leadership. Leaders who allowed people to feel ownership of ideas maintained loyalty and influence. In everyday life, this is crucial. Whether at work, in relationships, or in friendships, letting others feel smart rather than proving them wrong earns their respect far more effectively. Reverse psychology is subtle here. You don't argue, you guide. You allow thinking, and thinking creates commitment. The seventh law is silence. Silence is uncomfortable, and discomfort drives revelation. When you stay quiet in moments of tension, people rush to fill the space. They talk more than they intended, revealing intentions, weaknesses, or desires. Machiavelli advised rulers to observe quietly before acting, letting others reveal themselves through words and actions. Stoicism teaches restraint. Not every moment requires expression. Knowing when to speak and when to remain silent is a form of mastery that few recognize. Silence builds tension, commands attention, and signals authority. The eighth law is unpredictability. Predictable people are easily controlled. Controlled unpredictability, however, keeps attention and respect alive. This is not chaos or mood swings. It's calm flexibility. Sometimes you act quickly, sometimes you wait, sometimes you agree, sometimes you let things unfold. Machiavelli believed that leaders who were too predictable became vulnerable. In modern life, unpredictability keeps people on their toes and strengthens influence. It creates a dynamic presence that draws attention without effort or force. The ninth law is not defending every accusation. When you rush to defend yourself, you empower the attack. Attention fuels conflict. Machiavelli knew that ignoring minor attacks often neutralizes them. Stoicism agrees. Not every opinion, insult, or criticism deserves your energy. Silence in the face of minor provocations is often stronger than elaborate defenses. This law teaches restraint, focus, and the wisdom to discern where energy is best spent. The less you react to trivial attacks, the more powerful you appear. The 10th law is controlled freedom. People resist force but commit when they feel autonomy. Great leaders guide instead of commanding. They allow people to feel that they chose freely, even when subtly directed. Reverse psychology operates on this principle. You don't force behavior, you shape choices in a way that preserves dignity and freedom. Whether in business, parenting, or relationships, people respond better to guidance than to coercion. Ownership creates commitment. Coercion creates rebellion. The 11th law is comfort with loss. Fear is weakness. Fear of losing people, status, or approval signals vulnerability. Machiavelli understood that those who can walk away maintain power. Stoicism teaches acceptance of uncertainty and impermanence. When you are emotionally independent, your presence strengthens. People unconsciously respect someone who is not desperate for approval. In life, showing that you are fine, regardless of outcomes, commands more influence than any attempt to convince or control. The 12th law is patience. Rushing exposes weakness. Waiting provides clarity, timing, and advantage. Machiavelli emphasized timing in leadership. Modern life rewards patience in subtle ways. Those who wait, observe, and act strategically are often the most influential. Patience allows you to gather information, assess the situation, and respond effectively. Impulsive actions often reveal vulnerability, while measured actions signal wisdom and control. The 13th law is self-mastery. Without control over your own emotions, desires, and impulses, you cannot influence others. Machiavelli noted that rulers who mastered themselves were nearly impossible to manipulate. Stoicism teaches the same. Strength lies not in loudness, but in calmness under pressure. Self-mastery is the foundation of all influence, the basis of genuine respect, and the source of natural attraction. When you master yourself, you master the reactions of others indirectly. You create an environment where people align with you willingly, not because they are forced. The deeper truth behind all these laws is simple. Reverse psychology works because it aligns with human nature rather than fighting it. People crave freedom, dignity, and control over their choices. When you understand this, you stop forcing outcomes. You stop chasing validation. You stop reacting to every stimulus. Instead, you move calmly, deliberately, and intentionally. People notice this presence. Influence grows naturally. Respect follows without effort. Machiavelli understood centuries ago that power is subtle, relational, and psychological. Stoicism reminds us today that the strongest person is not the loudest or the most aggressive, but the one who controls himself, understands others, and moves with clarity. When you apply these 13 laws of reverse psychology, you stop being manipulated by circumstances, moods, or the expectations of others. You create a life where your attention is respected, your words carry weight, and your presence commands influence. Remember, this is not manipulation. This is awareness. Awareness of human behavior, awareness of your emotions, awareness of timing, patience, and boundaries. Awareness allows you to respond rather than react, to guide rather than push, and to lead without forcing. This is the real power Machiavellian Stoic philosophy are teaching. If this video helped you see human behavior more clearly, hit the like button so others can find it. Comment below which law resonated with you the most. And subscribe to Stoic Guide for more insights on self-mastery, influence, and living with clarity in a chaotic world. Master yourself first, and the world will respond differently.